The sun was dipping below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the serene lake behind my house in Pinewood Grove, a private oasis I'd paid a premium for. I, Ethan Caldwell, had moved here for peace, but peace was the last thing I got when Lauren Mitchell, the HOA president, decided my lake was her personal crusade. One humid July evening, she stormed onto my property, her eyes blazing with entitlement, and pointed a loaded pistol at my chest. "I'll have that lake one way or another," she screamed, her voice sharp enough to slice through the summer air. All because I refused to let the neighborhood turn my private retreat into a community playground. That moment lit a fuse and meant it for violence, but for something sharper, strategy. While Lauren thought she could bully me into submission, I was digging into property law, uncovering secrets about our neighborhood that would flip her world upside down. She'd soon learn some people fight back with brains, not guns. What would you call the cops or plot revenge? Drop your take below. Trouble started 6 months after I settled into Pinewood Grove. It was a crisp March morning, and I was sipping coffee on my deck, watching mist curl off the lake, when Lauren marched across my lawn like she owned it. Dressed in a sharp gray suit, clutching a thick binder, she had the air of someone who expected the world to bend to her will. "Mr. Caldwell," she announced, not bothering to knock or smile. "I'm Lauren Mitchell, president of the Pinewood Grove HOA. We need to talk about your lake." The way she sneered, made it clear she thought my ownership was a clerical error. I invited her to sit, offered coffee, trying to be neighborly, first mistake in what became a months-long nightmare. Lauren plopped her binder on my patio table, spreading documents without asking. "I've been reviewing community assets," she said, her tone dripping with condescension, as if explaining quantum physics to a toddler. "Your lake could add tremendous value to Pinewood if we opened it for community use." She unveiled charts on property values, articles on shared amenities, even sketches of my backyard with walking paths and benches circling the water. It was meticulous, professional, and utterly deranged. Weeks of work had gone into this-color-coded graphs, glossy binding, the works. When I calmly explained I'd bought the property for privacy, her smile stayed plastered, but her eyes turned cold, like a shark sizing up its next meal. Then came the red flags. Lauren probed into my finance, show much I'd paid for the house, my mortgage details, landscaping costs. When I dodged her questions, she seemed shocked, almost offended, as if my refusal was a personal insult. Worse, she knew unsettling details about my property. The lot's exact square footage, the lake's deepest point, even the type of fish stocked years ago. These weren't public records. It felt like she'd been spying on me for months. She rattled off soil composition, drainage patterns, even 1990s construction permits. "I make it my business to know my community," she said with a smile that chilled me. I thought she'd back off after that first meeting, but I was dead wrong. The letters started arriving, formal, ominous, on HOA letterhead with seals and legal jargon that screamed authority. Notice of asset review, boundary verification request, mandatory meeting on community improvements. Each was more demanding, designed to drown me in bureaucracy. I ignored them, assuming they were intimidation tactics. Then one morning, I woke to find surveyors in my backyard, measuring my lake with professional gear. Furious, I confronted them in my pajamas. Their leader handed me a work order signed by Lauren, claiming it was for community planning. The surveying company swore they'd been told I'd approved it. That's when I knew this wasn't a neighborly spat, it was war. When I called Lauren, her voice was all honey, but with a steel edge. "Oh, Ethan, just a mix-up," she cooed, then pivoted to a sob story about her late husband's vision for a united Pinewood. But my neighbor, Mrs. Grayson, later told me Lauren's stories didn't add up. One month, her husband died in a car crash. The next, it was cancer. She'd claimed no kids, then mentioned a son in Texas. These lies should have screamed trouble, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Grief, maybe? My second mistake. The next week, Lauren escalated, showing up with 2 HOA board members like a general with her lieutenants. Tim, a jittery accountant, and Clara, a retired librarian buzzing about community unity, flanked her as she pitched turning my backyard into a public park. Her binder now had glossy slides, trails, benches, a pavilion for neighborhood events. It was absurdly detailed, yet ignored the fact that it was my property. "This isn't just about you, Ethan," Lauren snapped when I refused again, her composure cracking. "You can't ignore our community's needs." Her outburst startled Tim and Clara, but it was the desperation in her eyes that unnerved me. I installed security cameras that night, sensing danger I couldn't yet name. Lauren's next move was a masterclass in manipulation. She called an HOA meeting with one agenda: Community Lake Access Initiative. I almost skipped it, but my lawyer's advice echoed: show up prepared. The community center was transformed: projector, handouts, catered snacks, all funded by Lauren. She'd spent weeks lobbying neighbors, painting me as a greedy loner blocking their financial future. Her presentation was a slick assault: data on property value spikes, testimonials from other HOAs, renderings of our lake. "Every family benefits," she declared, pausing to glare at me, "except Mr. Caldwell, who prioritizes his solitude over our welfare." Neighbors I'd waved to now vilified me. Mrs. Larson raved about amenities boosting her old neighborhood's value. A young couple waxed poetic about shared spaces for their kids. The vote was a landslide: 38-4, 4 against, including me and the Graysons, who opposed Lauren on principle. Walking out, I heard whispers: "Selfish, doesn't belong here." The isolation stung worse than I expected. Doubting myself, I sought legal help. Rachel Harper, a sharp real estate attorney, reviewed my deed and confirmed my lake was Menino easements, no HOA rights. But she warned, "They can make your life hell legally." She was right. Lauren unleashed a barrage of violation notices. My mailbox was an inch too close to the curb, my grass a quarter-inch too tall, my lake an unauthorized water feature. Each came with fines and hearing dates, turning my home into a bureaucratic battlefield. Worse, Lauren's letters referenced my routines: feeding fish at 7 a.m., late-night walks, details she shouldn't know. The surveillance vibe was suffocating. I scanned windows for watchers, my cameras catching nothing but shadows. Sleep vanished, stress gnawed at me, and I felt my life unraveling. Then came the gun. Lauren's arrest for pointing it at me should have ended it, but it only fueled her obsession. Released on bail with a restraining order, she rallied supporters, claiming I'd provoked her. She tapped HOA funds for a high-priced lawyer, sparking boardroom mutiny. Rumors flew I was selling to developers, ruining Pinewood. The neighborhood split. Half saw her as unhinged, half as a stressed leader pushed too far. I was done being a victim. Rachel called with a bombshell. Digging into HOA records, she found the neighborhood's main road used by all 42 homes wasn't public or HOA-owned. It belonged to a defunct developer, Oak Ridge Ventures, now held by an Atlanta firm oblivious to its value. For $200,000, I could own it, controlling access to Pinewood Grove. Rachel also uncovered gaps in Lauren's past: no records of Lauren Mitchell before 8 years ago. Her excitement was contagious. This could be the ultimate checkmate. The price was my entire savings, post-divorce security gone. Logic screamed to sell and leave, but Lauren's gun, her smug certainty, burned in my mind. By my lake under moonlight, I decided to fight. 6 weeks later, through a shell company, I owned the road. Rachel kept it secret, and the sellers, glad to offload a tax burden, asked no questions. On a quiet Tuesday, a security firm erected a 12-foot steel gate locks, cameras, a sign. Private road, no unauthorized access. By noon, it looked permanent. That evening, I sat on my porch, beer in hand, watching chaos unfold. Cars piled up, neighbors fumed, intercom buzzing with threats. Police and city officials confirmed my legal rights: private property, no jurisdiction. Then, at 5:47 p.m., Lauren's black SUV screeched up. Her face, caught on my camera, morphed from confusion to fury. She slammed the intercom, shrieking, "This is illegal. Open it now." I replied coolly, "Good evening, Lauren. This is private property. As owner, I control access. Find another way home." Her silence was golden, her meltdown epic. Neighbors watched, some retreating, others laughing, as her power crumbled. The real twist came later. Police, searching Lauren's home post-arrest, uncovered her true identity: Carla Vaughn, a career con artist. FBI files revealed her scams across 4 states, targeting neighborhoods with lakes or forests for development fraud. False identities, offshore accounts, bribed officials, swindled millions. Pinewood was her latest mark. Carla got 14 years in prison, ordered to repay victims. Pinewood Grove healed under new leadership. My lake stayed mine, and I removed the gate when I chose. Property values soared as the scandal faded. Sometimes, peace demands a fight not with fists, but with deeds and cunning. Lauren thought she could take my lake with a gun. I took her power with a road. What's the wildest thing you've done to protect your peace? Share below, and let's debate. Was my revenge justice or overkill?